On the posterior side of the knee is a diamond-shaped area known as the popliteal fossa. It is an important through route for nerves, arteries and veins passing both up and down the leg, and for this reason is frequently tested during your anatomy exams. Today we're going to learn everything there is to know about the anatomy of the popliteal fossa. I'm Dr. Conor Boylan, and welcome to More Than Skin Deep. First, let's orient ourselves a bit to the bony anatomy. Here we're looking at the back of the knee joint, with this being the medial side and this being the lateral side. This large superior bone is the femur, and it articulates with the tibia below. The smaller, thinner fibula articulates here with the tibia and is always on the lateral aspect of the leg. There are 5 important muscles in this region, and they form the boundaries of the popliteal fossa. The superior medial border is formed by the semimembranosus muscle, which originates from the pelvis and inserts into the medial aspect of the upper tibia. The superior lateral border is formed of the biceps femoris muscle. This muscle actually consists of a long and a short head, although we can only see the long head from this perspective. Both heads join into a common tendon which inserts into the lateral upper tibia. The 2 inferior borders of the popliteal fossa are comprised of the medial and lateral heads of the gastrocnemius muscles. These originate from the medial and lateral aspects of the lower femur respectively and insert into the common Achilles tendon. And the 5th and final muscle involved in the popliteal fossa is plantaris. This is a slim muscle that accompanies the lateral head of gastrocnemius and assists in its function. Plantaris forms part of the inferior lateral border of the popliteal fossa. The floor of the fossa is made up of the posterior aspects of the femur and tibia and the knee joint capsule. Many textbooks also consider a small lateral muscle called popliteus to have some contribution to the floor of the fossa. And lastly, the roof of the popliteal fossa is made up of popliteal fascia and skin. Alright, now we know all of its borders, let's take a look at the anatomical structures that pass through the popliteal fossa. These are usually considered from medial to lateral to aid in memory. The deepest and most medial structure in the popliteal fossa is the popliteal artery. This originates from the femoral artery and enters the fossa under the semimembranosus muscle. It passes all the way through the fossa to enter the posterior compartment of the leg, and whilst it does this, it produces a number of small branches which supply blood to the knee joint. Moving laterally, the next structure is the popliteal vein. This is formed in the leg by the joining of the anterior and posterior tibial veins and continues upwards through the popliteal fossa to become the femoral vein. It also receives contributions from some of the small veins of the knee joint and those draining the surrounding muscles. However, the most clinically significant contribution is from the small saphenous vein, which runs up between the heads of the gastrocnemius before entering the popliteal fossa in its inferior part. The last 2 major contents of the popliteal fossa to be aware of are its nerves, the tibial nerve and the common fibular nerve. These both originate from the large sciatic nerve in the posterior thigh. The tibial nerve is the most medial of the 2 and passes almost directly down the middle of the popliteal fossa before going deep to plantaris and entering the posterior compartment of the leg. It produces a bunch of small branches which supply part of the knee joint and surrounding muscles. The common fibular nerve, also sometimes called the common peroneal nerve, is the most lateral and most superficial structure in the popliteal fossa and is thus prone to damage during surgical procedures, causing foot drop. This nerve passes down the lateral aspect of the fossa before exiting superficial to the lateral head of gastrocnemius. It doesn't produce any significant branches inside the popliteal fossa. And there we go. That's everything you need to know about the anatomy of the popliteal fossa. I'll leave it on the screen a little bit longer for you to get a good look at all the structures. I'll be releasing a whole load of videos covering various anatomical regions of the body, including the femoral triangle, neck triangles and antecubital fossa, so please consider subscribing to the channel if you're interested in this. In the meantime, thanks for watching today's lesson. I hope you learned something and have a great day.